the Judicial Conduct Tribunal probing sexual harassment allegations against top judge of the Eastern Cape, Judge President Selby Mbenenge. That continues. Mbenenge is expected to take the stand, give his version of events, or alternatively, he will call his witnesses first and then he will take the stand. So for more, we're going to be crossing to SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga for an update. Canny, a very good morning. As you know, proceedings continue. Perhaps you could talk through what is expected today as it gets underway.
Essentially, this is a continuation of the first witness that the Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge has called to the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. You may remember yesterday that evidence leader advocate Salome Skeepers closed her case with her last witness, that is researcher Lisa Vetten, who provided her analysis on the nuances of sexual harassment and her finding or conclusion that, among other things, that Andiso Mengo, the judge's secretary, who is the complainant in this matter, was not a willing participant in the exchanges between her and the top judge, and that the top judge was not willing to take no for an answer. Following the closing of her case and that subsequent cross-examination that followed, it has now been handed over to the respondents to now give their version of events. But prior to that, there was an issue which was raised by Andiso Mengo's counsel that they would like to cross-examine the top judge as well as the witnesses that he will call to give their version of events in this landmark probe, which seeks to establish whether the judge's secretary was sexually harassed allegedly at the hands of the top judge. However, due to the legislation that governs this process, that is the JSC Act, and the rules that give guidance to the Judicial Conduct Tribunal, they were not able to grant the request to allow Mengo's counsel to cross-examine the top judge or any of his witnesses. That means that the top judge and his witnesses will only be cross-examined once by the evidence leader. However, the tribunal has given an allowance for Andiso Mengo's counsel to consult with evidence leader advocate Skeepers should they choose to traverse a particular area in cross-examination. So we'll see when that unfolds, when the judge president takes the stand. However, it seems that he'll be the last person to give his version of events, and he's going to call his witnesses first. The first one, Ms. Ngai, she is a judge's secretary at the Eastern Cape Division of the High Court, and she would have been the Judge President's secretary during the allegations that Mengo has put forth here before the tribunal. Where we left off yesterday, they were dealing with the allegation that Mengo made during her evidence in chief that she saw the top judge allegedly hugging the court manager in his chambers. She peeped through the door and saw that. Now, her evidence, or rather Ngai's evidence, is to shed light on whether this version can be accepted by the tribunal. We have already heard that she stated in her testimony yesterday that it could not possibly be true, as she was in the chambers the entire time and did not see Andiso Mengo peeping through the door and seeing the alleged act that she contends that she has seen. They're still busy with the evidence in chief, and we only really started to get to her testimony later in the afternoon yesterday. So we expect that the meat of her evidence will play out today during day 20 of the Judicial Conduct Tribunal probing sexual harassment allegations against top judge of the Eastern Cape, Judge President Selby Mbenenge.